Right, welcome back to the 12th Man, the regular Thursday night show at 7:30 p.m. every week. The Roadshow is well in the mixer at the moment. This is the 19th pub we've visited this season. If you're unfamiliar with the format of the show, we'll look at all the latest Ipswich Town news ahead of the weekend's fixture. And this week it's none other than Coventry City. Tonight we're filming at our 19th pub, as I just said, of the season. We're here at the Grosvenor in Felixstowe. We've finally come to Felixstowe. It's been a while. But they're currently running a deal, buy one get one free on selected cocktails, prosecco and beer, Monday to Friday, 4 until 7 p.m. happy hour. So boys, did we get buy one get one free when we got in here? I think we missed out on that one. Are we going to have to start this video again? No. Tonight we're joined by the 12th man, Mark himself. After last night's debacle, he'll be looking to get a few hairs off his chest, so I imagine. Coffin Dodger Brian is still here with us, mate. Yep, still here. Surprisingly. And making his debut tonight this evening is George Madgwick. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Good.
Tell everyone a bit about your journey with Ipswich Town.
I've had about a season ticket about last 15 years. Yeah. Seen the highs and many lows.
Many lows.
Many lows. This is definitely the lowest of the low.
But yeah. We'll get round to that tonight, mate. I mean, you won't have any trouble talking about any of the things we've got to talk about tonight. But in the headlines, it's now. If you're watching this after the defeat to Fleetwood last night, you're probably thinking what's gone on with Ipswich Town this season. And thankfully enough, we can now summarise that our season is over. And I'll go through the points to which have culminated to this point from an Ipswich Town point of view. So since the 5th of November, the last time, Town had actually won that night on the 5th of November. We went up to Rochdale, won 1-0, didn't we? Stayed overnight. Not a bad game, but we weren't well beat as that game. The club have played 20 League One fixtures and have only won on 4 occasions. After a run of 7 games without a win over Christmas, manager Paul Lambert was handed a 4-year contract extension on New Year's Day. That shocked a few faces on New Year's Day whilst we were at Wickham. I'm sure it did you guys. But following this, the Blues went unbeaten in 5 games and reaffirmed their position at the top of the pile in firsts until we then got a 1-0 pasting at Rotherham. We got absolutely battered that game, didn't we? Last night, Town slipped to their 6th defeat in 8 games against Fleetwood, the Blues' 3rd straight defeat on the bounce. The defeat has all but ended Town's chances of the playoffs, let alone automatic promotion this season. A reminder that Fleetwood Town are the same age as my younger brother. I am older than the current Fleetwood Town Football Club. Ipswich Town boasts of a 141-year history and now slipped to its lowest position in the English Football League pyramid since 1953. 67 years, which I'd probably say is the only thing older than Brian at this table. But he's actually older than that, I've just found out. It doesn't matter where we finish this season, it will be the worst position this club has ever finished in 3 to 4 generations. It's bad, isn't it, boys? Really bad. Brian, go on, mate.
We are absolutely terrible. Nobody seems to know what they're doing. The midfield, while the other team could play with 2 blokes with Zimmer frames, really. We're that slow. We're ridiculous.
We weren't good, were we, mate?
No, we were absolutely terrible.
Yeah, Kieran was saying he was watching Chelsea, Liverpool, rather than watching Ipswich Town on his phone. Yeah. Is that what it's come to now? We're not actually interested in our own football, our own brand of football.
I don't know how many times you have to keep going on here and saying the same thing week after week, which is the frustrating thing. It feels like we're saying the same thing every week. It's Groundhog Day. Every Thursday we're always saying the same thing at the minute. And that, there was an eerie atmosphere around Portman Road, harking back to the McCarthy days. Just the atmosphere wasn't there at all. And as Brian was saying, he's not the only one who I know was watching other games. As opposed to watching Town, who can blame him? We're not getting anything from the team at the minute. Yeah.
Would you agree, George? I mean, did you go last night, mate? Firstly, would you agree that the atmosphere was ready for change? Would you say everyone is kind of expecting something to change now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
With the whole of the midfield, it just seems like they were just running around like headless chickens.
Yeah.
Really, no one knew who was playing where. I had people around me just saying I just can't wait to go home, really. Now it's literally 5 minutes in. You just tell from the atmosphere, it was just flat.
Do you think that's due to the team selection, firstly?
I do in a way, but there is some odd ones I thought it really started with.
Yeah.
But especially McGavin, I thought that was a bit of a shock. You could easily put him on the bench or even start Bishop instead of him. Give Bishop 60 minutes and then maybe bin him on last half an hour if we're winning.
You're right, there was some worrying tactical niches last night. I'd probably say is the only word that I can connect to.
Gavin was getting the ball and he was going forwards. He weren't going sideways or backwards. He was actually going forwards.
I mean, that's a criticism. I'd also say Dazelle, who hasn't played in a good 10, 11 weeks, was the only player that I've seen pass horizontally this season. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, apart from the back four when they try to play out like that, which mostly you get the goalkeeper and not go out of play most times. But that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous the way they're playing. Nobody wants to seem to run anywhere. They just want to stand still. Nobody move.
How many times last night I know, Mark, you picked this up on Twitter. How many times did Harry Suter pick that ball out of the air from a Chambers or Holy hoof forward?
I think it was more than 88 times, which I joked on Twitter, but it was laughable. What more could we do as fans? I think last season for most fans is as bad as we thought it could ever get. Yeah. At least we were getting beaten by half decent sides in the Championship. And there was laughable moments in that. Last night was laughable at times. The ironic cheers for that, and it was predictable. Like it was we all knew every time Holy picked the ball up, whether it was going to be a drop kick or from a goal kick, we knew straight away where the ball was going.
Yeah, but that was the same the last home game, wasn't it? They're two centre backs that did everything he's put up in the air. It's ridiculous. We've got no one up front but we're going to hit the ball.
It's four already.
Four ridiculous. Make sure if you're watching tonight, how many times Brian says ridiculous, because it's definitely worth hearing. Boys, in terms of the squad, I'd come forward and say this: have I been completely wrong this season, as much as anybody else, and suggested that this squad is good enough to get promoted? Would you agree, George?
Yeah, definitely. On paper, I would say nearly every position we've got is probably in the best three players in League One. Yeah. I would say. Yeah. I just don't know. At the moment, as well, I just don't look like we've got like a plan B.
You're right. I mean, last night we filmed this on a Wednesday night. Last night, Tuesday, against Fleetwood, we didn't look like we had any other options, did we, at all?
No, definitely not. I do feel I'm not Keane's biggest fan, but I do feel a bit sorry for him at the moment. Yeah. That he's been made a little bit of a scapegoat. Yeah. Because everyone knows he can't header to save his life. But even though when we do Lambert, people do still just moan at him. Yeah. Compared to
if you look at Tyree Simpson last night, I think he, within a minute of coming on, he won a header, and everyone was on Keane's back. That must be mortifying. That 17-year-old, 18-year-old comes on and does more than you've done in the whole, 60, 70 minutes.
You could tell his confidence is shot to bits. I think he knew probably. I don't know what the exact minute with Tyree Simpson came on, but Keane was as closest to the touchline as you could get. You could see he didn't want that reception we've all seen it, players being the other end of the pitch and getting ironically cheered. He didn't want that reception. His confidence is completely shot, and he's not the only one. It's just we're completely lost, completely rudderless, and we're going nowhere. And it's not just down to the boys. It's something they'll go on to later. It's far deeper than that, and we need to do something about it.
Well, we can talk about the players firstly before we get into that. But Cobble Massive has said tonight, do we have any players at the club that give a shit? Now, I'll just add some background to that. The only thing that hasn't changed since we come down from the Championship is the playing staff. Virtually every player that was here last season is still in that squad, plus 3 or 4 additions, I would say. That's the only changes there. Not massive, not huge. Brian, do the players give a shit?
No, not at all. Don't think one of them really gives a monkey. As long as they get their money, that's all they want. And come to that, I think I should have a whip round and give me my season ticket money back for the amount I've had to watch this season.
Pensioners is cheaper than a normal one, isn't it?
Still 246 quid, mate.
Half price on mine.
Don't matter. I've got a pension, mate. I ain't like you got a job.
Yeah, well, no, you're right, mate. It's, you know, you get out of your armchair and go down to the games, don't you? And you support the club just like everyone else. But the problem is that not only are we talking about the fans going down, we're talking about generations of fans as well that have seen the good times, the bad, that's still with the club. You're one of those, Brian. I mean, how does it make you feel?
Well, it just annoy me that nobody's got any passion at all. My granddad took me down there in 1957, and I've been down there most years, but I've just had enough. Seriously, I just joke. I go in there and I stand next to the bloke next to me, and he'd go, "What's going to happen today?" I said, "We're going to lose, and we're going to play like crap."
Yeah. I mean, I don't go into Portman Road now expecting to get a win. There was a time when I used to walk in there absolutely radiant, bursting with pride, and that's just been and gone. So it's gone a long time ago. But Dan Kay has come out and said tonight, why, after a good run of form leading up until November, do we look like a side who doesn't know what football is? Have we just turned it off? Those things don't happen.
It goes back to mentality. Is this the only season where we've seen this happen? I can remember McCarthy's last season. Started off red hot, soon died away. The playoff year, topped the league at Christmas. Barely scraped. I think we scraped the playoffs on the last day because Darren Bent missed a penalty for the derby. It's just where we are, and sadly, it's taken this long for us to all get fed up with it, and it's got to come to an end. It really has, and it's obviously not going to come from the club. It's up to us to do something about it.
Yeah, we need to start making headway. I'll miss the next two questions after I've gone through the rumour mill, Mark, because there's some dangerous rumours coming out of Portman Road at the moment. Where they're coming from, I don't know. But it's worth mentioning that some of these have got some groundwork in them, as far as I'm concerned. We alluded to Norwood and Lambert's relationship a couple of weeks ago, and said that it looked as though tensions were rising. He was being dropped from games for a reason. Now, a lot's been coming out in the sense that there is some kind of situation behind the scenes between Norwood and the management staff. Now, Norwood and Lambert did have a falling out, according to the rumour mill, and this is what has caused a rift within the squad. Norwood opted to take surgery rather than playing. I mean, George, hearing that probably for the first time, would you say you believe that?
I do now, after seeing the last few warm-ups and that. Can't remember who it was, who we beat 4-1, we didn't come on.
Yeah.
I weren't there, but I've got friends who were at the game watching the warm-up, and he weren't even interested.
No.
Weren't even getting involved. He was just walking about, kicking the ball.
And the thing is, if he goes and has surgery straight after that, then we all just automatically say, oh yeah, he's been injured for those last few games. But we've all known he needed that surgery anyway. So was it a decision by him to take the surgery and miss the rest of the season?
I think it is. I can't see Lambert turning around and saying, go and get it done now. Yeah. Especially when we're pushing playoffs. And well, he was our top goal scorer at the club.
I mean, me and Mark watched his last appearance at Wimbledon, and he was completely a different player, weren't he? It weren't the same player.
You barely noticed him on the pitch. He had one chance. I hit the bar, if I remember. It's been so depressing since then. I can't even remember that game. And it said it all when he came off. I think the last thing he did before he got pulled off, he was on the halfway line trying to switch the ball across to, I think it was Wolfenden on the far side. Complete awful pass. Miles behind him, went out for throwing. His head went up in the air. Frustration. His confidence again. It's another player's confidence who we've seen completely shot, and whatever reason, whether it is a fallout behind the scenes or something more than that, we will never know. But it's clear to see that he's not happy here at the minute.
It's easy to see his drop from grace. I mean, we were scoring at the start of the season quite freely. I mean, I had an interview with him for who was it for? The PFA. Yeah. To give him, Player of the Month award. And at that point, he'd scored 5 goals in the open 4, I think it was, something stupid. And confident as the next person, he was looking ready to fire all gun cylinders. Do you know what I mean? And in terms of the player's confidence, as good as I've seen. And he may be a bit of a rebel behind the scenes. We might not know much about him, but I spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes face to face with him, and I tell you what, he seemed like a genuine bloke. Now, I can understand the fact that the club don't want a player to be bigger than the club. He would never be bigger than the club, and that goes for any player in this club at the moment. But in terms of the situation, I can understand if Lambert stepped in at some point and said, "Look, James, you're getting too big for your boots now. You need to calm down." And maybe that's striking a chord. Would you agree with that, Brian? Do you think he's come out of favour in the management staff?
I don't know about management staff. He's, as you said, since that game at Wimbledon, he's been absolutely rubbish. He don't seem to want to do anything. He just stand there. He used to chase things. He don't bother to chase anything anymore. He just completely ignore it. And he's expecting Jackson to do it all, which is unfair on him.
We missed him the last few games, haven't we, Jacko? And he's just won over the fans as well, Jackson. That's an important thing. They're singing his name and everything. The next rumour that I've got into this week has come from 2 or 3 different sources, indicating that Scouse and Chambers are not happy with the management team and have made their feelings heard. I'm hearing this from all different angles. Don't know where it's come from. Some people are saying it's from coaching staff within the club. It's just a nightmare. Why are we hearing these things, George? I mean, if I'm sitting here and telling you rumours, I've still even got another one here that I've not even said. But these rumours are just indicate bad things on the club, don't they?
It does, definitely, especially when it's coming from your 2 most experienced players at the club.
Yeah.
Just obviously something going on behind the scenes. I think.
It's frightening.
Yeah, you can just tell from all the body language on the pitch.
Yeah.
After the game, during the game, just everyone just leaving it for one another. You can definitely tell.
What were the players trying to achieve by clapping the fans at the end last night, Mark?
I don't know, I wasn't there. But I was out of the ground by that point. But I was standing with the fellas who I stand with, and I think neither the players nor the manager can surely come over after this. They obviously did, and it's not. They've done it every game since. This slide has happened, and you just really wonder what is trying to achieve. Whether I've doubt they're doing it voluntarily. I imagine they're being told to do it.
You get to a point, surely, in the season where you're playing so bad that it doesn't warrant anybody clapping the fans, because we're only there because we're so blind. I
don't need to see it. I don't need to be clapped. I'd rather them be sunken on the floor and disappointed. We don't see that. It's just another game to them, and it just seems like it's another game to everyone at this club.
What is your message to people who actually clapped that performance yesterday? I know you laughed there, Brian. I'll come to you in a minute.
I wouldn't.
I'll never tell anyone how to support their club, because we all support the club in different ways, and it doesn't matter if you're there every weekend or if you get to the old game and you can, or you don't go at all. We all have our reasons. Ultimately, we're all Ipswich Town fans at the end of the day. I just can't see how people aren't more. There's clear anger, and frustration, but it just doesn't seem to go anywhere. Again, something we will talk about later. You've got to think. I honestly can't answer that question. I can't. I don't want to tell people you're a fucking idiot for clapping them, because it's not.
It's not that. It's not that, Mark. I'm saying that they're giving, they're applauding them maybe to say, look, keep going, keep trying. But at the end of the day, it's over. This season's over. They've wasted. We're talking about 20 odd games here that they've wasted good form to try and get a win. Brian, you laughed when I said, why were people clapping at the end of that game? Just tell us why.
Why? That's for this. They should be playing not for themselves. They're just not interested. They've just got no idea. As I say, I went out 10 minutes before the end because I just had enough. That was ridiculous the way they were playing. They would admit they had that shot kicked off the line and then everyone kicked. That's all they done the whole game. They might as well not play it. Half of them didn't even get a sweat on.
Well, Whitby alluded to that last night, didn't get a sweat on. I mean, as I was walking out of the stadium last night, probably 85% in the North Stand were shouting, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." I mean, that must be a sobering thought to hear. But The last one, I'll come to you, George, about this one again. Rumour mill. Lambert has been given Saturday's game against Coventry as his last to make an impression. Otherwise, he gets the boot. I mean, I don't know how credible that is, but I could probably understand that it could be done and dusted after Coventry. Would you agree with that?
I would, yeah. I'm sort of surprised it's taken that long before the Coventry game. I thought it was going to be gone for Tuesday, in all honesty.
I said to the boys, I'd be thoroughly surprised if he made it out after Blackpool, because we just hadn't been playing well. We still had a chance with 10 games to go. Do you know what I mean? Well, if we'd got a win at Blackpool or got a draw, we'd at least had some kind of form going into the next game. Just not good enough. But Brian, what would you say about Lambert being given the sack after Coventry? Would you agree with it?
I honestly see the point, because whoever they bring in is not going to do any difference whatsoever. Because he's got the same players that were not interested.
And even though I said that to the boys, that he might go, I can't see him getting past Blackpool, I also come from your point of view. I sway more towards your point of view. Would it make any difference? It wouldn't. You're just it's just sailing a ship that's sinking.
The way the club is being run at the minute, for various reasons that we can spend more than 45 minutes going into, it's untenable for any manager to do this job at this time of in speaking. There's talk of Warnock coming in. Very much seen as
I left that one out.
a promotion specialist, but I can't see. It's not an attractive job for anyone at this moment in time. Everyone knows the situation with regards to investment, and you just look at the club and you think, how is Paul Lambert had that at the start? What was it, 25th of January, top of the league, merited or not, we were top of the league. And you look how have they fallen this far? What manager is going to want to take up that challenge with all the other baggage that comes with it? Without some serious change, this job is untenable for any manager.
You're right there, and I think even at the time when we were looking for a new manager, Paul Lambert, would have been a name where you'd scrape in the barrel. Bottom of the Premier League, Aston Villa, reject from Aston Villa, done nothing since Norwich.
But truthfully, I think he's had enough. Because at the beginning of the season, he was on the touchline, jumping about, all his hands and everything. Half the time, you sit down now, and you've got the other.
Stuart Taylor.
Yeah, you've got Stuart Taylor there, telling them what to do, and he ain't got a clue.
Even them that yesterday, something that fucked me off before kick-off. When we got into the ground, the players had just finished their warm-up. I see Will Norris in goal. That's not why I'm annoyed, by the way. And I see Jimmy Walker, Matt Gill, and Stuart Taylor having a laugh and joke, taking pot shots at Will Norris just for a laugh. Look how far we've fallen, and you're taking the piss. It's the same as where we got mocked at Leeds. I don't know, I can't remember the bloke's name, but whatever the fuck he was doing at half time at Leeds live, and it was seen on Sky. League, and he's pissing about. It's not a joke to anyone that's invested.
Do you think it's a club that we're a club that just don't seem to realise the fucking shitstorm we're in?
We don't. We've been sailing this way probably longer than 5 years. It's hard to looking back at the whole Marcus Evans era. I'm not going to dig him out for giving Roy Keane money, because you would. And this is exactly what the fans wanted to see. We were coming out of administration. He bought players that he knew from Sunderland, and ultimately it didn't work. But where have we gone from there? We've just gone absolutely nowhere. We've stood still, and everyone around us has either developed off the field, or they've just on the field they've got far superior, or they've chopped and changed. We've just stood there, and it's come to a point where now, last night was the first time I've walked out. I've always not clapped the players off, but I've always seen them off. Because I think if you stand there and don't clap and just look at them, and they can see you that you're not applauding, you're not happy, that it does mean something. But I just couldn't stand there any longer. I obviously, as many of you saw, I couldn't contain my frustration last night.
Well, Mark, I've got one question, mate. Are you ready?
The last 2 games I've actually gone out 10 minutes from the end because I've just had enough. That's ridiculous. Nobody want to play. I've had enough. I just had enough of it. I just really have had enough. I'm so frustrated. That's unbelievable.
I know. And Mark is now going to spearhead that frustration to a point that he needs to bring something up. Mark, 2 questions tonight. Both of them resonate with what you're going to say tonight. Did Spurs score?
Yep.
Yeah. Norwich are losing as well, so that's good news. Ollie Prowse has said, how does the club need restructuring? And Andy J says, what's next for protests on Evans' ownership and running of the club? Mark, you've got 10 minutes, mate. Take the mic.
We've had the 5-year plan, and it's time for the 5-point plan we had. It's time for the 5-point protest. Far too long we've sat here, just accepted the fate that we've had, and we're now at our lowest point, and potentially could get even lower. Last night for me, it wasn't just last night, but last night was the first opportunity I really had, and I actually wanted to get it off my chest. We can't sit here and keep going to Portman Road as fans and accepting this absolute bollocks that we have to put up with week on week on week. We all have different reasons why this club's not working at the minute, and I hate to see on social media and in person that we're all fighting amongst ourselves, because we're not the ones that should be asking these questions. There's people who are paid money by us, by our commitment to this club, who should be questioning what the fuck is going on. Not just this season, the fundamental failures that have hampered this club for at least 5 years. Like I alluded to earlier, this job is untenable for any manager at the moment. And as fans, we need to unite and take a stance against this. I will be spearheading a protest campaign. I can't guarantee it'll be successful, but I can't sit here any longer or go to Portman Road any longer without trying something different. I completely understand anyone that wants to walk out. I completely understand anyone who wants to give up this season ticket and not pay Marcus Evans any more money, because quite frankly, why should you? There's more important things in life. You've got your family time, and you're not getting anything that you deserve from this football club at the minute. But I can't keep going to Portman Road any longer and not do anything and not speak my mind and show that this is my football club and I fucking love this club to my death. I'll take this club to my grave and will love it. My missus will attest to that. She feels second best at the minute, and she shouldn't, because quite frankly this football club is giving me nothing at the minute. Like I said, there's so many different reasons why we're failing, and this is where it comes to the 5-point protest. This is personally my 5 points. It's not all about me. If you want to tell me why this football club is failing, and we can put it forward, this needs to be a start of something. Like I said, I can't guarantee this will work. I can't guarantee that this will change an owner, but we don't know without trying anything. All I urge for you is to judge this with an open mind. This is the football club that you love, the football club that I love, and we can't just sit here anymore and not do anything. Walking away, like I said, completely understand it, but you can walk away and still be part of this protest. The 5 points I'll start off with, something I've alluded to many weeks, is mentality. Where have we gone as a club? We've had this mentality of rolling over, that some players leave this club. Bartosz Białkowski has said we accepted relegation before Christmas last season. David McGoldrick left. He said there's no pressure on this team to win. Adam Webster left for Bristol City, for a club more ambitious than Ipswich, a club wanting to go somewhere. And there's countless others who have left. Martin Waghorn hasn't made any comments. Why did he leave? Because Derby are in a better position to go up than Ipswich, because they have that mentality to do something. The second point is ambition. What is the ambition and plan for this football club? We've been told it's promotion out of this league. We've failed that at the first time of asking. Arguably, we had 6 months of preparation, accepting relegation and the pre-season, in a position in the last 2 months where we're top of the league, and we blew it. And what is our ambition, not just for this season, which was promotion? Where are we going for this? There's clubs far lower down the pyramid who have got a plan set out where they want to be in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time. We look like we struggle to even look 6 months ahead because we're not that invested in what we're trying to do. The third point is investment. I'm not going to sit here and tell Marcus Evans how to spend his money. You know, we say that quite a lot on the channel, but we have every right as patrons of this club to say to us, why are we not spending this money? You know, the way the club is being run, it doesn't make sense. I don't feel we're self-sustainable. Another point on my 5-point protest is the transfer policy. We've lived off Bosman's free transfers, journeymen, not built a squad, not building any means of our own income. Our youth team players are leaving for pittance, really. You know, Downs and Wolfenden are going at the end of the season. They'll be going for probably less than 2 million each. Dobra not even going to get $500,000. We're not doing the things that other clubs are doing, making themselves self-sustainable. But, you know, I'm not asking Marcus Evans to go out there and sign, I don't know, Connor Wickham. I'm not, you know, that name was banned. Where's that name come from? It was banned out of nowhere. I can't, you know, we just need to be spending well. Look at Peterborough, look at Brentford, look at Preston. There's teams who buy low and sell high, and we just don't do that. And we just don't do that at all. The final point is, I can't even remember what it is now. I've been talking to you're giving me the microphone too long. Let me just check.
You can check, mate. You've got all the time.
I promise by tomorrow this will be more fathomed out. Transparency, there we go. We're fed the same PR bullshit every season by the players, by the manager, and when he can be bothered, Marcus Evans and his minions. We're all in this together, and if he is truly invested in this football club still, he needs to be transparent to fans, not hide behind the PR questions that have been manufactured for him. Answer the questions, put yourself in front of the fans. It might not be in your common interest to be seen in front of the fans, but it's in all of our common interest where we want to see this football club. You know, I'm not going to say this protest isn't an Evans out, this isn't a Lambert out, because quite frankly that won't work. We've got to be realistic. Evans, it's highly unlikely Evans is going to go anywhere, but we can make his life difficult, and ultimately we've got to challenge him. Do you still want to be in charge of this football club? Because even if he doesn't want to be in charge of this football club, the way it's being run at the minute, who's going to want to take over this football club? We need to fight back as fans, united, no matter how we feel. You know, you may not agree with some of the things I put on Twitter, what I've said some stupid things on this channel in the past, as we all have, but now is a clean slate for us all, and we've got to look at the bigger picture, and that is our football club and honestly where we want to go. Like I said, I can't guarantee that this will make a difference, but all we can do is try, and I ask for your support. The 5-point protest will be going live at the same time as this video. I'll be working, you know, around my busy working life and social life to put forward this well thought out protest, the key points, not just for what I think. I want to hear what other people think, and going forward, ultimately making a stand of home game very soon.
Well, Mark, you've got my support, mate, and I'm sure the boys would agree. I think that's the most sensible way of going forward if you were to conduct a protest. If you do want to get involved with Mark, as a starting block, I would suggest emailing us if you want to get onto the email trail. If you want our email, it's IpswichFanzone@gmail.com. That's IpswichFanzone@gmail.com. You can contact Mark via Instagram or Twitter. All these links are below anyway. Mark, people know who you are.
Just come and see me. Just talk to me. Like, that's why I said to you, it's so easy to walk away, and I get it. I get why you would walk away. We've done it before, and ultimately we've regressed back to where we were. And I don't blame anyone that wants to walk away again, because you're wasting. The club isn't giving you what you're paying for. You're a patron and you're unhappy. Why should you keep paying? But ultimately, we've seen that this hasn't worked. And I think we've been very patient with Evans. I know for a fact I was on here the Christmas special, and I actually partially defended Marcus Evans. Then he's gone and made the same mistakes that he did in 2015, and I can't take it any longer. I honestly can't take it any longer. And I know people on Twitter in person who feel the same, and ultimately it's just going to take that one person. You know, we've had all the joke protests, you know, all the joke taking the piss out of people who don't deserve it, taking the piss out of anyone. I come from a working class family. My family, when I was younger, did what they can so I could go to football. Now I'm working, 25 years old, you know, paying for my own wage, just what I want to spend my money on. You know, I wouldn't have met you, I wouldn't have met anyone around this table without this football club, and I wouldn't have met my best friends without this football club. And it's been taken away from us because we're not getting what we expect and what we deserve from this football club. You know, Ipswich was the club that, you know, we were the small club from Suffolk that took on Europe. We've beat Barcelona, Real Madrid, we've won the UEFA Cup. We've had plaudits from some of the greatest managers, Sir Alex Ferguson. You know, we've played against some of the greatest players of all time, Cruyff, Platini, and now look where we are. And you know, I'm not going to blame any fan if they don't want to get involved. That is completely fine. You know, I'm not going to dig you out. That's not what this is about. This is just offering an opportunity for everyone and anyone that wants to not just sit back and accept it anymore. And this is where we need to start. So yeah, the 5-point protest will be in motion, and I can't do it alone. I know I've got your support, Ash, and Brian's here, but you know, it takes more than the three of us sitting around this table. It's going to take a hell of a lot more.
Certainly won't take more than three of us to get it started, mate. So yeah, you've got my support, buddy, and I'm happy for you that you decided to do that, because obviously it takes somebody with a strong heart to go and do this. And this is, without blowing my own trumpet, this is why I started this channel, because I want to change. Whether or not that's the change that you see in your eyes, it's the change that I wanted to come about. And yeah, I will support you. But look, we've got a few more minutes. We can look towards the game on Saturday. There's plenty of time between now and then. But as we said earlier, boys, Lambert could be, you know, sacked this weekend, or he could still be in charge after it. But Coventry come down to Portman Road on Saturday for the second time this season, beating the Blues already 2-1 back in December in the FA Cup. The Sky Blues have only lost once in the last 21 games, and that is against Shrewsbury. Unbeaten in the last 13, winning 10 of those. That form currently sees Mark Robins' team top of the Sky Bet League One, a position where we were all but familiar with up until early part of this year. Striker Matty Godden has scored 13 goals this season, famously scoring a back-to-back hat-trick early on this season, and Mark Robins' men are without doubt the most concrete team in the division when it comes to performing on the pitch. Having played their entire season away from the Ricoh Arena, you'd expect the club to welcome a return to the Championship after a testing time of late. Boys, firstly, what are your opinions on Coventry? Are they a team that have caught your eye this season, Brian?
Well, yeah, because as you say, Matt Godden, I watched the game on the telly the other night, and he was just running where he wanted. Yeah. And down here Saturday, he's going to run rings around us. They're two centre halves. We're going to get booting up, and they'll just keep heading it back to us. So it's a complete waste of time as far as I'm concerned.
You've alluded there to a dangerous player. Would you say this is going to be an absolute walkover, George?
100%. Concerns. This could easily be 3-4, 5-0. Yeah. It's very concerning.
I mean, firstly, George, would you expect the crowds to be as high as they've been on Saturday? Are we saying, I mean, we got 14,000 there last night, that's a Tuesday night, but would you say we'd dip below 20 for the first? It's been 19, 20 the last few games. Would we dip below 18, maybe 17 this weekend? And if we were to lose this weekend, I mean, the last, 5 or 6 home games that we've got, you'd expect the crowds to drop considerably, wouldn't you?
100%, especially when we've got nothing to play for. If we're completely out of the playoffs, which we are, a lot of people will think, what's the point playing what's 30 quid a ticket? If we're out of the picture, not going to go up, I think it's 15,000.
How do you feel about travel? Obviously, you come from Village, so it may not be a long distance for some people, but it is a distance which you have to travel. In terms of getting down there and watching a game, is it going to become an arse ache for you if we're not actually performing?
It is in a way. A day out, even the home games, if you're having a few beers, still about 40 quid if you're all day, especially with that like on top of your season ticket a month. Mine's 48 quid, pay a month, all amounts up on it. You get nothing in return at all. It's concerning where it can be.
It's just the feeling. It's the feeling of 3 points, isn't it, Brian? I mean, when you come out of a game and you've won, you forget about everything, don't you? You enjoy life, don't you? And we haven't had that for so long.
Yeah, but not having a laugh. As I said Tuesday night, we're going to win 1-0. I told you that. And then they come out and then we got the team. And I said, well, no way we're even going to get a shot. No. And that's what it come down to.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, the optimism just crept back after Blackpool at the weekend, George. But when, like we just said, when you saw the squad yesterday night, what were your thoughts?
I was a bit positive before the game. I thought we might have scraped it 2-1, 1-0. Seeing that team, I believe me, I didn't expect anything. I thought they'd be smash and grab, 1-0. They would nick it, late doors. But since we went 1-0 down, I couldn't see us even scoring one, even getting an equaliser.
And we've been 1-0 down so many times at home this season. It's just ridiculous. And I think what is it, Brian?
Nothing.
It's just ridiculous how many times we've been 1-0 down this season at home, and we just don't seem to come back, Mark.
It's Groundhog Day. You know, there's been a few instances where we have, but you look at the calibre of the opposition. I think, by and large, it's rather through their deficiencies or them not playing quite so well that they've capitulated and allowed us to actually go on and win a game. But the writing was on the wall yesterday. I correctly predicted as soon as Ched Evans come on it was going to be 1-0 and he'd score, because you could just see it. And I know for a fact I wasn't the only one. I just happened to be stupid enough to put it on Twitter. But I know for a fact as soon as everyone saw him come on, I thought, well, it's going to be 1-0. He's going to score. You know, he didn't get the chance I was expecting. You know, that's usually what is a telling sign. We've seen it so many times in the past. But no, again, Coventry, this is a team we need to take inspiration from. They've had the shit thrown at them from terrible owners and terrible mismanagement at the top level. They're top of the league in the best run of form.
It's a fucking miracle. They've got back from the arse end that they were in. Yeah. They were in League 2, weren't they?
They were in League 2, yeah.
And they've rebuilt. Yeah. They've lost their stadium. They've lost their home. Yeah. I mean, imagine playing 44 away games in a season. Essentially, that's what we're saying.
The thing is, they've had worse seasons than they've had this year. Yeah. They had to travel all the way to fucking Northampton.
Yeah, they played 6 minutes.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous, you know. And going back to the process, you know, it's no exaggeration to say no one can sit at Portman Road, sit at home and say where this club's going to be in 2 years' time, 5 years' time. No club is too big to go under. Rangers have gone under. You know, there's bigger sides than Ipswich Town who have gone into severe financial difficulty over poor management and being left behind by every other club at their level. And we're definitely in danger of doing that.
Boys, going forward, we're about to end the show tonight, but going forward, would you agree that lowering expectations is the only way that us as Ipswich fans are going to be able to get on with this? Do you think that we need to understand our position in the league, Brian, so that we can accept our fate?
I've got no expectations at all, seriously. I wasn't surprised if we end up in Division 2 or League 2 next year season or the season after, because there's nothing being put in at all. Nobody seemed to bother. I've just had enough.
Yeah.
What do you say, George?
I agree, 100%, especially with all the players who are going to go, players out of contract. It's concerning what sort of squads we could have next season. All these sort of high zoners might have to move on. People like Hughes, hate to say even maybe Norwood. I think he's on one of the high zoners. If he's had a falling out with Lambert, he other teams might come in sniffing.
It's a sorry state of affairs, and I have to apologise for the sombre mood of tonight's recording, but that is what life is like being an Ipswich fan at the moment. We're not partial to thinking that we are a big club. I wouldn't say that I've ever thought that. I wouldn't say we're a massive club. But my expectations have been very low. This season I expected to get promoted. That was the least of my expectations. What I expected to come out this season was a club that were together, a club that could move forward and do many different things, but that quickly seeped out of the holes that were left from just poor performances. And who's that down to? Is it down to players, the manager, the owner? Are the fans at question? You've got to look at it from all different angles. But in terms of where we're going, what we're doing going forward, we need to be together. And like Mark said, with the 5-point plan for a protest, there must be a way to get this fixed as a supported group, as a group of fans. But thank you for watching tonight. Make sure you subscribe and keep up to date with everything. We will be at the game on Saturday, God forbid. But until next time, come on you Blues.